Remember to drink the water, not breathe in. There we go, so that's gone live. Super, so good morning and welcome to today's children's yoga session. So today we are exploring the story behind one of the poses, and it's quite frankly one of my favourite yoga stories. So it's a story of Garuda, who is half eagle, half man, and is where the idea of eagle pose that we'll be working up towards in our practice today comes from. So before we make a start, make sure that if you have a mat, you have it rolled out ready. And perhaps if you might like a blanket or a cuddly toy for relaxation today, that you make sure you have that to hand as well. Just taking that moment to make yourself comfortable, grabbing anything you need. And once you have everything you need, find yourself a comfortable seated position. Somewhere that you can grow really tall through the crown of your head. As we take 3 deep breaths together with the chime to start our practice. Fantastic. So we'll begin with a short story about Garuda. So Garuda hatched from a huge egg, and he appeared radiant and bright as a million suns. It was clear that he had lots of power, so he was begged to make himself really small and hide that power from the world. Then one day his mother got herself into a little bit of trouble. She lost a bet with some serpents, and they captured her and took them high up into the hilltops and hid her away, and said that she could only be released if Garuda brought them this magical nectar called Amrita, which if they drank it would enable them to live forever. Garuda accepted the challenge, but in order to release that nectar to save his mother, he had to face 3 deadly tasks. We're going to look at those in our yoga a bit later. But these 3 tasks were: first, he had to pass through a ring of fire. So in order to get through, Garuda used his huge beak to scoop up water from several rivers, spraying it out, putting out the fire, so he was able to pass easily. Secondly, he needed to fly through a circular door surrounded by spikes on the inside. For this one, Garuda used his mystical powers to make himself as small as he possibly could, and then sneaked on through. Finally, there were 2 venomous serpents. In order to get past them, Garuda used his magnificent large wings to whip up a sandstorm so that the serpents couldn't see him. He sneaked on through and got hold of that cup of nectar. He took the nectar up to the snakes in the mountains, and they agreed to release his mother. She agreed never to make such dangerous bets in the future, and now Garuda is free to use those mystical powers and show the world how wonderful he truly is. So as we explore a little bit of that story in our practice today, we're going to begin by hopping up into our mountain poses, growing really tall through our head. So take those feet around hip distance wide. Plant them down, grow really, really tall. I'm going to start by circling out those shoulders, bringing them up to the ears, sliding them back and down. Continue doing that, bless you. Cycle them up, see if you can touch your ears before softening them down. Lovely. Couple more times. Great big circle. And then let those shoulders be nice and soft and fluffy. You're going to bring both arms out in front of you and just make sure you're not going to tap anybody else or knock into anything. You're going to cross one arm above the other, then swing them out wide, bring the other arm on top. And then keep swapping which arm's on top as you begin to crisscross those arms a little bit quicker, swapping from one side to the other. Lovely, really getting into those shoulders. See if you can do it really, really quickly. And then slowing back down. Fantastic. Then let those arms be really heavy by your side. Feet are nice and firmly planted. We're going to twist from the hips, from side to side, just letting those arms be really heavy as they swing with your body. Watch out for other people. It's very easy to bump into each other here. Super. So slowing all the way back down to the centre. Then bringing those hands together in front of your heart. Going to stretch all the way up to the sky. Then fold forward. Lift halfway back up. Bring the hands to your knees. Then fold forward. Sweep your arms out wide, just like wings. Hands come back to the heart. Let's see if we can do it with the breath this time. Breathe in, reach up. Breathe out, fold. Breathe in, halfway up. Breathe out, fold. Breathe in, sweep out those wings. Breathe out, hands to the heart. Once more, breathe in. Breathe out, fold. Breathe in, halfway up. Breathe out, fold. Breathe in, sweeping out wide. Breathe out, hands to the heart. Super stuff. So let's come all the way down onto our knees now. Bringing the knees directly underneath your hips and the hands directly underneath your shoulders. You're going to spread those fingertips nice and wide, plant them all the way down into the floor. Then tuck your toes underneath. Lift those hips up like the peak of a mountain into your downward facing dog. So you like that upside down V shape. You're going to begin to walk your dog on the spot. Bend one knee, then the other. Swapping from side to side as you stretch out your legs. Great stuff. So then gently come onto the tips of your toes and bring your knees all the way down to the floor. You should still have your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips as we take some rounds of cat-cow. So as you lower your belly down, bring your head to look forward. Then push down into the floor, round your back like an angry cat. Coming forwards, look forward, belly is soft. Then rounding the back, push down into the floor. One more time, belly softens, lift your head to look forward. Then pushing back, rounding up through your back. Then coming back to the middle. I'm going to take a different sequence today, and this one's called a mountain salutation. So rather than doing our sun salutations, I'm going to take a different sequence, making us think about being high up in those mountain tops. So we're going to start off by coming down, curling up really small, like your rock or pebble. So into your rock pose. Draw those arms under your body, let your head soften down. Take a little pause here, settling in. And bring the hands under your shoulders. Tuck those toes lifting up into your peak of a mountain. Super. Begin to walk your hands towards your feet. And then sink down onto your toes. Keep those fingers down for a minute till you catch your balance. We're going to make ourselves into a mountain hare. So slowly bring your hands up, big ears on top of your head. Fantastic. Watching the balance, try and stay on your toes as you come all the way up to standing. Once you get all the way up, let your heels come down onto the floor. Making our mountain really tall, stretch those arms up all the way towards the sky. Wonderful. Bring the hands together, bringing them down in front of your heart. If you know which one's which, we're going to stand on our right leg and come into tree. Don't worry, just remember which side you stood on first. So bring your left foot either to your ankle or your calf. Fix your eyes like lasers on something that's not moving. Find that balance. Super. As we turn into a waterfall, bring your hands down to the floor. And then send that leg that was in your tree straight up behind you. Stretch it out nice and long. Beautiful. Bring that foot next to the other one, back into your mountain peak. Hips lifted high. Walk the hands into your feet. Dangle down like a droopy willow tree. And then come all the way back down to your knees, into your rock pose. Take a pause here. Sink everything down into the floor. I'm going to take that whole sequence again, using the other leg for our tree. So we're going to begin by walking the hands in, lifting the hips up into our peak of a mountain. Walk your hands back to your feet, sinking down onto your toes. And then bringing your hands up to make your ears of your mountain hare. Try and stay on your toes until you get all the way up to standing. And then let those heels sink down. As we become that whole mountain, reaching your arms all the way into the clouds. Bring the hands down in front of the heart. Stand on the other leg this time as you step into your tree. Foot can be down on the ankle, maybe on the calf. You could even lift it up to the thigh if that's where you prefer to be. Super. Bringing both hands down to the floor, this leg at the side, lifting up high, turning you into a tumbling waterfall. Stepping that foot down, walk the hands backwards, dangle like a wobbly tree. Bring yourself all the way down to the floor, curling up back in your rock pose. Beautiful. Take a pause here. Imagining the stream gently washing over you. Wonderful. Bring yourself all the way up. Find any comfortable seated position on your bottom or your knees, doesn't matter which. So as we work up to our eagle pose, there are two aspects. There are our beautiful wings as our arms and our legs. We're just going to practice our eagle arms to begin with. So if you bring both of those wings straight out in front of you, then you're going to cross one arm above the other, high up above your elbows. Lovely, that's it. Then bring those hands up towards the ceiling. You might grab a hold of a thumb, your hands might be free, doesn't really matter. Then just gently lift your elbows up a little and take them forward from your body. Beautiful, that's it guys. Lovely eagle wings, all wrapped up tightly. gently release those wings out wide, unravel the arms, swoop your wings up and float them back down. Wonderful. From those tightly wrapped wings to soaring high. Let's try it on the other side. So bring those arms back out in front of you. This time, cross the other arm on top before bringing your hands up towards the ceiling. Gently draw those elbows forwards away from the body. Imagine your wings tightly wrapped up and then swoop them out wide, lift them high, floating them down to the floor. Wonderful. So now we've practiced our eagle wings. I think we're ready to take on Garuda's deadly missions before we practice our full eagle posture. So the first thing that Garuda had to face, now what was it? Can you remember? What was that first challenge? Yes.
Put out fires with the rivers.
Yes. So there was a ring of fire and he needed to put it out. So we need to scoop up some water from the river. So let's come over to our knees. Imagine we have this wonderful flowing river in front of us. Let's come down, scoop up water in your beak, breathe in through your mouth. Rise up and spray it out. Let's go again. Come down, breathe in, slurp it up. Rise up and one last time. Big, big gulp. So, we've put out the fire. We're one step closer to reaching that nectar. What do we need to do next? Can anyone remember what happened next? Yes. You've forgotten. Go on.
The door with spikes inside.
That's exactly it. A circular door surrounded with spikes spinning around. So we need to get past that somehow. So we're going to need to make ourselves, just as Garuda did, really, really small. So you could do this sitting, laying on your back or curling up on your front, but just see if you can make yourself the smallest size you could possibly be. So really wrap up tight, tuck everything in, make yourself really, really tiny. Now keeping that smallness in mind, maybe see if you could move yourself as if through that circular door, staying as small as you possibly can. Wonderful. So we've managed to sneak through that spiky door. So we have one more mission, one more danger we need to overcome. Can you remember this one? No? No problem. What is it?
2 venomous snakes that he had to get past, flapping his wings to make a sandstorm.
Exactly. So there were 2 poisonous, venomous snakes, and we need to get past them. So for this, we need to be really big and bold. So let's come up to standing. Make sure you have plenty of space next to you. We're going to start with our wings. Move forward, my love. Make sure you have those wings nice and tightly wrapped into your body. And then you're going to start to flap them wildly up and down as fast as you can. Create a breeze, whipping up that sandstorm. Few more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now the snakes can't see anything through that sandstorm. We can sneak on through. So, Garuda has now managed to get hold of that beautiful cup. So make your hands into a cup shape in front of you. Bring those fingers together, open them up. This beautiful cup of nectar. I'm going to hand it over to the serpents, freeing our mother and bringing her home. Fantastic. So now Garuda doesn't need to be small and shy anymore. He can show all his wonderful kindness and magical powers. So we're going to practice seeing if we can go from being that small, retiring, wrapped up eagle to a big, swooping, magnificent bird. So this one's going to need a little bit of balance. So we're going to come up to our feet and we're going to try doing things on one leg today. So remember, it's really helpful to fix your eyes somewhere that isn't moving, really like lasers to help you with your balance. And we're going to be practicing, hopefully, our eagle arms as well as our legs. But if it seems a little bit confusing and you've not done this before, that's really fine. We're just going to do the legs and you can keep your hands together if that's what you prefer. Maybe practicing it all together on a different day. But let's see, if you want to try the arms as well, bring those back out in front of you. Remember, we're going to cross one on top of the other, bring the hands up towards the sky. Now notice which arm you have on top. And we're going to lift up the opposite leg. And you're going to wrap that leg over the top of your other one. And then see if you can start to sit down, making yourself really, really small. Watch your balance, keep those eyes fixed. See if you can take another breath. It's really tricky, I know. Now we're going to spread out, making ourselves into a magnificent eagle. Release those wings and legs. Stand down and gracefully flap those wings. Wonderful. Okay, I know it's really tricky, but we're going to try it on the other side as well. So remember which arm you had on top. This time, bring the other arm on top. Or if you don't want to do the arms, just keep your hands together in front of your heart. Look at your arms, see which one is on top, and then pick up the opposite leg. So you should be standing on the other foot this time. Then wrap it tightly over the top of that standing leg. Fix your eyes on something that's not moving in front of you. Begin to sit your bottom down. Bend that standing leg. Curl up, make yourself really, really small. Hold it for a moment, be really tiny. And then no need to hide anymore. Spread those wings, plant the foot gracefully, flying in the sky. Beautiful. Well done, guys. It's a really tricky pose, but it's a really good one to work on over time. Fix those eyes. Start with just the arms and just the legs and put them together when you feel ready. Okay, so before we head into relaxation, we're going to take a short breath-based movement sequence to really help settle us down after all that balancing and focusing. So go ahead and plant your feet around hip distance, maybe even shoulder distance apart. Just turn your toes slightly outwards so your feet are pointing towards the corners of your mat. Wonderful. Going to interlace all your fingers together just like this. Bring them down in front of your tummy. Palms facing up, thumbs pointing forwards. Great stuff. Pop a little bend into those knees so you're squatting down. Going to do 4 simple movements with the breath and keep repeating, okay? So as you breathe in, bring your hands up to your neck. Straighten your legs. Breathe out, turn the hands over, fold forward. Breathe in, sweep them forwards, bring them all the way up. Breathe out, release them, come back to the start. Breathe in, lift up. Breathe out, fold down. Breathe in, sweep the arms up. Breathe out, release back to the start. Follow your breath, breathing in and out. In and out. You might like to close your eyes or you can keep watching if you like. Breathe in and out. So really slow that breath down, moving gently. Use that whole breath to complete each movement. Not at all in a rush. Continuing to move slow and steady with your breath. One more complete cycle of movement. And letting the arms settle next to your body. Feet planted, growing nice and tall. And come onto your toes and slowly sink down to the floor. Coming down onto your bottom. Then rolling all the way onto your back. Give those knees a little hug. Make yourself really small. Maybe a little gentle rock from side to side. As you let those movements slow right down into the center. Let those feet float down to the floor. And stretch your legs out long. Make sure you have your blanket, cuddly toy, anything you need to be comfortable. Then have a little fidget and a wriggle. You find just a place that you'd like to be for relaxation. Once you've found that comfortable place, become really still. Let your eyes gently close. Then imagine that you are an eagle living high up at the top of a mountain. It's a beautiful sunny day. You decide to go out for a fly. You hop out of the nest, beginning to walk and then run towards the cliff edge. As you arrive there at speed, feeling brave, you leap off the edge of the mountain. Spreading your wings wide, you begin to soar through the air. The gentle flap of your wings, and you're flying high above the earth. Looking down at the ground beneath you, you see the tops of lots of green trees in a forest. A deep blue clear lake. You see the tops of smaller mountains. Maybe you even spot a deer running wildly, or smaller birds flying beneath you. So you take this time to continue your journey, flying gracefully through the air, noticing all the things you see beneath you. Now it's time for you to fly back to your mountain. You swoop and glide, flying gently back towards your home. in your cozy nest on top of the mountains. You come into land as you now feel yourself laying on the floor. Begin to slowly wiggle your toes and your fingers as you very gently bring yourself back up to find a seated position. Growing tall through the crown of your head as we close with 3 breaths together with the chimes. Bringing your hands together in front of your heart as we bow to the goodness in each other. Namaste. Thank you very much for joining us to explore the story of Garuda and that wonderful eagle pose of Garudasana. No doubt it's one of the trickiest yoga poses, so don't feel bad if you weren't able to do all of it today. Just remember, keep practicing, fix those eyes and build things up step by step. And embrace that wonderful inner eagle inside you, spreading those wings, sharing your magic and colours with all of the world. So enjoy your weekend, and we look forward to seeing you back here on Tuesday at 11:30 for bite-size yoga, and then next Friday for half an hour of yoga again at 11:30. Take care, have a great weekend, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye from me, from him, from her, and Garuda.
And Woo Woo and Henry. And Phoebe.